All right.
How you guys doing? How you guys feeling? How you guys feeling?
All right.
How you guys feeling? Hey, so we got a big surprises coming up, but Glenn, I want to start off just by telling you that I talk a lot about mentors, right? And my core business is mortgage. So I was telling you behind in the back over there, how like there's a lot of mentors for different types of things, but when you have a mentor in the same industry like mortgage, like it's powerful. So it's very important to learn from somebody that is in the same industry. You are the GOAT when it comes to mortgages. I was telling you when I was 19, I used to send you loans to Stearns Lending.
Damn, how old are you?
Well, I turned 42 yesterday.
Holy crap. Happy birthday, but that makes us both pretty darn old, man. I tell you.
Experienced.
Yeah, there we go. Why? Wisdom. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. But Glenn, well, so what are you up to now? Like, what's the next big thing for you?
Well, when it comes to business, because I had after building Stearns, we sold it at pretty much at the height of our timing was pretty good, and so we got out and went around the world, and then we actually I had gotten cancer. So when the cancer didn't kill me, I went, oh crap, I guess I got to go back to work. So started kind lending, and we've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years now. So having a good time at it.
That's awesome. For mortgage people here, how many mortgage people in the room? Raise your hand. Can't see. Make noise.
There we are.
Yeah. Over there. Awesome. So in mortgage today, let me know when you want to do the thing. But
yeah,
in mortgage today, is there some advice you have for some of the loan officers here that maybe they're having a difficult time versus how it was 2021?
Well, I mean, this business, like any business, you got to look at it as either a transactional business or a relationship business. And if you're in it for transactions, right, I think you're going to have a hard road. If you're in it for the relationships, then you've got to understand it's the long game, right? And you've got to be able to really dig in and realize, if you look at what's happened over the last 3 years, 50% of the loan officers have left our industry again. So the water will level out, and then we're going to see the dip in the rates, and then everybody's going to be feeling, I think, a little full again,
One quick thing. When do you think, maybe it's not the right word, but when do you think easy times come again? Do you think we're a year away from it, 2 years away, where we have a refi boom and everything's going good for lenders?
Yeah, I've never put a timeline on anything like that because you're always going to be wrong. It's not about when, it's about going out no matter what and establishing the relationships.
Yeah.
You've got to go out, you've got to do the hard work, and then you'll get some wind at your back at times. Other times you're going to have it in your face. So you just can't deal with that. You just got to worry about how to continue to grow your network. That's more to me what it's about,
Yeah. So you just have to keep going, and it happens when it happens.
That's right.
Yeah. You do you guys mind if we bring a person on stage? Yeah.
So we were sitting there talking, and my phone buzzed, and there's a friend that happened to be right around the corner, and I told him where I was, and he says, I'm hopping over. So for those of you that might know, I did a little show, about 4 years ago, called Undercover Billionaire. And,
yo, it's not true.
I sure did.
It's not true. Why are you lying, Glenn?
And I did this show better than anybody else.
No, you didn't. No,
yes,
you didn't. That's some bullshit.
I beat
That's some bullshit. You did
everybody
not do it.
on that show.
You did not do it better than anyone.
Every day I'm hustling. Every day
Can
I'm
some-
Can you guys bring a chair
Can
out?
we get a chair? A chair up here?
Every day I'm hustling. Every day
How's
I'm
everybody doing?
hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
So
We
Glenn,
need a chair. We need a chair.
Glenn hit me, what,
About
30 minutes
30
ago?
minutes ago.
And I was in Beverly Hills.
You sit, Grant. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down. Goddamn, I got a long day in front of me. You got to learn how to conserve your resources. Sit down, Glenn.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for
Bring
my
Albert.
host.
Hey, happy birthday to Albert, guys.
Yes, happy birthday, Albert.
Yeah, and Glenn texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm in downtown LA this morning. I'm gonna try to go to your. I'm doing 3 events later today." And Glenn's like, "I'm gonna try to get over there at the Hubble studio about 5 minutes from here." And I said, "Well, I'll see if I can get over there fast enough." So I literally finished working out. I was gonna get some breakfast, canceled the breakfast, went upstairs, changed.
I'm glad you changed. I mean, really.
I did. I just threw on whatever I had, dude. So good to be here, Albert, with you.
to
Haven't
have
seen
you.
you in a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Give it up for Grant. So Grant, talk about like what are you doing here in LA? Like what brings you back?
Well, right now I'm running up and down the state trying to get the people in California. How many of you live in California? 10x. So I'm trying to save your damn state before you guys let it go. Right now, rodents have more rights than the residents. The homeless have homes, and the homeowners are homeless. So I don't know what they have to do here for you guys to get pissed off enough to say, "Hey, fucking enough is enough." I live in Miami. I don't live here. I left here 13 years ago when the fire started. I don't know if you guys got that image back there of the fire. Can you just show the house? And I was like, man, they're just gonna rip the state off. And so I told my wife, I said, man, I've been touched by God and inspired to go to California and see if I can actually just wake people up and say, this does not have to keep happening. You have the greatest resource on planet Earth right here in the state of California. This was created by God and by nature.
There you go.
Whatever, everything burnt up until my house. So people are like, man, why did your house get saved? I don't know. Because I told my wife, she ran up to me like 8:30 in the morning. She's like, wake up. And I'm like, God damn, I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Leave me alone. And she's like, no, wake up. The house is burning in Malibu. I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm in fucking Miami. And I said, 75% chance it doesn't burn. I said, is it on fire right now? I said, 75% chance that it won't burn. I'll bet you $1,000 right now. And she's like, okay, I'll take the bet. She's like, why don't you think it'll burn down? I said, I've helped too many people. Woo! That's right. I've helped too many people. We're going to get a pass. So it literally 16 homes in a row burnt to the ground. And then bang.
Well, you got the voice for it. I'm telling you, you got a lot of people that listen to the no BS, and the state needs some clear thinking right now. You know, that's for sure. Go ahead.
So what do you think? What do you think you're going to do with California?
Well, right. Look, I mean, you guys? This has to happen. You guys have to happen. The people in LA and Orange County and San Jose and Sacramento and San Francisco, you guys need to say enough is enough. You know, you're complicit in the crime. You understand? You pay the highest taxes in the United States. You have the highest crime rates, highest utility
Homeless.
rates,
Don't forget
highest
the
homeless, highest utilities, highest transportation costs, highest unemployment. Like, you guys are fucking high.
Where are we on education?
And you have the greatest resources on planet Earth. I've traveled all over the world. You've traveled more places than I have. There's no place like the state of California.
We got to do something about it.
You have the lowest home ownership in the country. 16%, only 16% of the people in this country, in this state, can buy, have a mortgage on a home. So you got to fix this. How do you fix it? You don't fix it with career politicians that have never, ever worked anywhere for anyone. They've been soaking you guys for years. And you guys got to say enough. And the way to do that simply is this. This is not about Democrat or Republican. It's about a handful of extremists And it's only like a dozen extremists that are ruining everything here. This is not about blue or red. But if you want to put pressure on the extremists, you would go register today or pre-register as a Republican. Because it will send a jolt, and Glenn could speak to this better than I can probably. It will send a message to Sacramento, they've had enough. That's the only message it will get. The recalls will not work. You do not want to recall Newsom, because if you recall Newsom, all he's going to do, it allows him to start raising money for his presidential campaign, which is what he's going to do. There's a law that says if they get recalled, he can spend money, he can raise money to use for whatever he wants, okay? He don't care about the state of California. He's already effed this place up. Yeah.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think, but you're looking, a lot of people are seeing, thanks, Albert, that Newsom's, they finally have said enough's enough with this man. I think they finally believe that. I want to change gears a little bit, if you don't mind, Albert, because this is your show.
Yeah, no, go for it.
But it's, you know, what we got is a lot of entrepreneurs out here, right? You got Albert, yourself, myself. We all do it a little differently. And you're talking about what you're doing right now, which is speaking up, right? And as an entrepreneur, that's exactly the same thing that we do, is we don't sit back and be a wallflower.
Yeah.
And so that's how you got to grow your business, is to be able to say, I'm going to do something about it. And so I think when I look back at your career, Albert, I knew this, I'll call him a kid, when he was 19 years old. He was sending
he's
me
still
business.
a kid. What are you talking
Exactly.
about? Shit.
But you got to be bold, right? Whether it's to try to help save California or it's try to help save your company.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of people out here that are either investing in their own business or just in being their own entrepreneur themselves. And it's all the same thing in a way, right? 'Cause you just can't be shy. You got to be able to stand up and say, I'm going to take a chance. I applaud you for taking the chance on going out there and saying, I'm going to try to change and help the third biggest economy or fourth biggest?
Fifth, I think. It's fifth, but
yeah. So
who's counting, you know?
It's
bigger than all the way up to India. But the be bold thing, like, you guys have to be bold. Like, if you're not bold and you're going to introvert and give yourselves a reason not to make a claim, not to stake a claim, not to tell people what you're going to do. Like, I'm extremely boisterous, right? I'm loud, I'm noisy. Glenn's not that. You don't have. It's just how you're going to do it, okay? And you can be different personalities. Albert does it different than I do it. But, you know, if nobody knows you, nobody's going to flow you, man. Like, it just ain't going to happen. Like, you can't get lucky if you don't show up and if you're not in the room. Adam Sandler was in the elevator of the hotel I was at yesterday, and I was getting on, he was getting off, and he goes down the hallway and he's like, room service. And I opened the door and I said, Adam, quit practicing your comedy in the freaking hotel, okay? So you have to make an announcement that you're there. You got to let people know that you're there. You're competing with 8 billion people. Tremendous amounts of noise. So you have to figure out how to stay relevant and
But I just think sometimes your advice isn't great, okay?
Dude, of course not. Sometimes my advice is terrible.
When you got on my Zoom in front of my whole company, you told them all to go advertise on Pornhub, okay? Do you remember that?
No, I do not remember
that. Probably wasn't great advice, but
I did not tell your people to go on Pornhub. They already do. Okay? I was telling him, dude, if you want to find a cheap place to advertise, it's pornography sites. Now some of you
do that?
Huh?
You do that?
I don't think we do it. I don't know. Sherry would know. I don't run the ad budget, but I just know this. Like you cannot judge people. You guys got to quit judging people. You have to look at people and say, look, there's traffic going to the Pornhub. Okay, there's traffic going to the Super Bowl. You can't afford a Super Bowl ad. You can afford traffic going to that Pornhub. So we did a test on it with the Millionaire booklet, and basically it was, we ran an ad, said, hey, before you do that, okay, get your money right. Get your money right. When you're done with your bullshit, go to millionairebooklet.com. It was like a 15-second ad. And the conversions were great. It was cheap, man. It was so cheap, you know?
Maybe you were right after all. Who knows?
You know if it's still cheap? Does it work for mortgage?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm moving on to other things now, so I have no idea. But you know,
Run
you
for
think that
governor
people
on
that get
Pornhub,
mortgages on
would
homes
ya?
don't go to pornography sites? They're
Yeah.
the number one most trafficked sites on planet Earth. It's a problem. So what I'm doing is converting a problem that he frowns on, okay, because he did it a lot. He frowns on it, and the truth is, I'm just utilizing the traffic that's already there without judgment.
What do you think, Glenn?
Spanky, run for governor, Grant Cardone. I see it.
There's been a lot of worse choices.
I
I got a great marriage. I got great kids. You know, yeah, I cuss. What are they going to say? You cuss. They're going to say, hey, man, you did that video. The video they're going to hold against me is the $400,000. You know the video?
No.
If you make less than 400 grand,
right.
you should be ashamed of yourself as a husband and a father. That's what they're going to use against
In
you.
all honesty, Grant, that
Okay.
people know where you stand. Okay?
I was
There's
right,
no-
though. I was right. You need 260 to get a mortgage in the state of California. 260 to qualify for a mortgage on a mediocre home, probably a shitty home. You need 400 to get anything decent. And you probably need $1 million. The average home in California is $880,000. Go up to San Jose, San Francisco, it's $1.1 million to $1.4 million. Average home, average shit home, probably built in 1970. So you guys got to change your thinking, and that's why events like this that Albert and Sylvia put together, and Glenn coming in here, they're so important for you to get your thinking up about. You're getting hit with inflation, but you're not inflating your dreams and your goals.
So Grant,
And it'd be cool to have somebody in politics that would actually tell people, you guys need to lift up your dreams. You need to think bigger. You need to go bigger. You guys can solve this problem. They do not want to empower the people. If you empower 40 million people, bro, it's crazy, okay? Like you empower, when you empower people to know how to get money, how to avoid taxes, everyone in here should be educated on how to reduce your tax bill to as close to zero as possible. Who pays for everything else? Oh, it'll get paid for if you quit sending money to them to steal. You'll have more money to take care of your grandparents and your parents and your loved ones and your family members.
That's right. So Grant, we have 54 CEOs right here. So 54 CEOs. They all, paid a lot of money to be here, and they're all small business owners. And we have some people that it's been a 3-day event. Today's the 3rd day. So Friday, Saturday, and then it drops. So Sunday is the last day. So what's the difference between people that show up the 3rd day and also when they're here, they leave, and this happens to a lot of people. They leave, they get information, they get pumped up, because you pump people up, get people excited, but very few go out there and execute. And I know you've seen a lot of people not execute and few that execute at a high level. What's the difference, and how can you help
Well, the
them get
difference
there?
in the 3rd day is if you left already, you didn't get to see me and Glenn. So that was dumb. Look, on the execution part, when I get an opportunity, I show up. I just say, okay, I'm gonna show up. You have to build this discipline. I think Glenn would agree with this. You just have to build a discipline. Opportunity, show up. I could have easily said in Beverly Hills an hour ago, less than an hour and 15 minutes
What
ago.
made you come?
I had an opportunity, dude. Like I have a muscle that says opportunity, show up. Just show up, show up. Now, when you show up, you got to show up. And then when you leave, you got to go show up again with new information. You should become a new person here. And so what I'm going to do, if I have an idea to call somebody, I learned this when I was 25 years old. I was in sales, and I was going to, you should call William today. He's a guy that I was trying to sell something to, and if you're driving down the road and you just have this random thought out of nowhere, I didn't call William. I waited for like 2 days, and then I called him. And then William said, I said, William, did you buy anything yet? He's like, yeah, I did 2 days ago. And I'm like, God damn, I should have called him then. That was God telling me. That was God inspiring you. You're being inspired every day by God, folks. You're given opportunities every day by God. Or whatever you call it, right? Whatever the phenomenon is that's running the universe, that's allowing you to be here today and your family and have kids, and bees talk to bees and flowers communicate with flowers, blah, blah, blah. So you're being communicated and you're not seizing the opportunity. So when he said, we were down here, I'm like, hey, I'll see if I can get down there.
You know, it's funny, I learned that same thing. I was just started out, brand new loan officer, and wasn't making a dime, right? But I kept going every day. But then I had to make some money, so I was a waiter and a loan officer. And I remember one day I got a call and they said they wanted me to do a loan application. I had to work that night as a waiter. I said, wonderful, I'll be there tomorrow. So I worked that night as a waiter. Next morning, called him, I'm ready for your loan app. He said, already took it with somebody else. I thought, never again. Wow. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when the time is there and the window opens, you jump. Yeah. And you've always done that, Grant. Yes. I mean, I was sitting in the green room with you and text you, and 30 minutes later, you're here. You know, you got to do that.
And look, I could have found 6 reasons not to do this. So you have to have more commitment to the doingness than the not doing, than the excuses. So
you know, when I became a little better loan officer, I found a little loophole, I guess you call it. I'd call the news stations and I'd say, I've got this amazing program, you know. It would be like the $100 down payment program for HUD. You can get into a home, and they go, really? Could we do a story on that? Sure, I've got somebody. And they do a story, and then thousands of people would go, I want one of those. And the news station would say, well, you can't call us, call Glenn. So I was getting free loans, free advertising. Wow. And I'd do it on every single station. And after a while, I started telling my buddies about, I mean, they all knew, but how do you do it? I said, just call them. I said, these producers on the news, they are looking for stories. You're helping them. Nobody ever did it. Yeah. Back to your point, what's the difference? Is you got to act. You got to do it. And I've told loan officers, if there's loan officers out here, go do that. You'll get thousands of leads. Let's see if anybody does it, right?
Yeah, and then Glenn, like for you, everybody loves you. I don't think you have anybody that kind of criticizes you.
No, Glenn, everybody loves Glenn.
But like you, for example, a lot of people criticize you, especially with
Glenn. Everybody loves Glenn. If you love Glenn,
he's like
say love. Everybody loves Glenn. Everybody.
So you're bold. You know, you have a big mouth. You speak a lot.
Yeah.
So like you get a lot of criticism, especially now with the moves you're making and what you're saying. So I mean, what do you say? You're getting more criticism than ever, and how do you just keep going and not let it affect you? Because a lot of people here, they're starting, you know, as entrepreneurs, and they start getting some haters, a little bit of criticism, and they kind of stop, and they don't want to speak out.
Well, first of all, how do you get everybody to like you? Because everybody does like you. Everybody, dude. You know, when I did the deal with Discovery, they were like still loving you. Like 2 years later, the crew was like, "Oh, we love Glenn." I said, "Fuck Glenn."
He's nice. He's nice.
Fuck Glenn. Glenn ain't here, bitch.
Hey, my
I'm here.
company is called Kind.
Glenn's a nice guy. I'm not.
I was the executive producer on your show. Okay, so they'd call me, and I'd say, "How's it going?" They say, "Well, Grant's a little different than you are, Glenn." And and to your credit, Grant, like you have thick skin, and I think you got to break some eggs sometimes to get stuff done. You know, I try to thread the needle where, if there's a controversial subject. Let's take abortion for a second, right? That's kind of abortion. That's pretty controversial.
Yeah.
If someone asks me what I think, I say, well, when I was 14, I got a girl pregnant, and I was scared to death. And if I had had the opportunity, I would have run to get an abortion. But I didn't get that. And now I have a wonderful daughter. Yeah. And I would die for that daughter. And that's true. So that's my answer, right? Which is... Yeah. Does it make sense? I'm not trying to say no or yes. I'm trying to live through an example. And
look, in his
you'll
business,
get right to the point.
He has sponsors. He has sponsors. He has like I don't have any sponsors. It doesn't mean I'm doing it right. He's probably doing it the right way, right?
What did Michael Jordan say? Everybody. But even Democrats wear sneakers, or Republicans, or something. I can't remember what it was.
But you're bold, and you have a lot of grit, and so you're very competitive, just like Grant. The thing is that Grant has a big mouth, and you're more reserved.
And
I
Grant
don't
has-
think it's that I have a big mouth. That's you. That's
you,
you.
You like
that's
you,
your
you like
bullshit.
confrontation too.
I don't mind confrontation, actually. I actually thrive in a confrontational environment. Here's what you guys don't know, okay? Like the clickbait. There's tremendous. I was talking to Mark about this before I came out here. The clickbaiters that run.
Mark Shapiro.
Yeah. Grant Cardone's going bankrupt. Grant Cardone's fraud. Grant Cardone, whatever. You guys got to understand, when you clickbait that stuff, those titles, it's going to get a bunch of views, but it's not going to convert. Clickbait does not convert. Who watches that? Who would be attracted to Grant Cardone is going bankrupt? I'm going to watch this. But how are you going to flip them into buying something? This is garbage, okay? These people are not looking at homes. They're not looking at mortgages. They're not looking for service. They're looking for shit. When they're done, by the way, they're going to go to the next clickbait and the next clickbait and the next clickbait. So all I would tell you is don't really even pay attention to the criticism too much as far as watching it. If you're getting it, you're doing something right, okay? They put Jesus on a cross. So when you guys get I don't like your information, you're all hurt. Bro, just remember, Jesus Christ sat on a cross for 3 days. Okay? What are you worried about? So I don't really care about, most of these people come around anyway. They hate me one day, the next day they're like, let's do some business together. So the way to defeat that is to, like, you got to just keep showing up, keep executing, make sure you're doing this turns into success, man. Success is important.
No is the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
Yep.
So going back to you, Glenn.
And I'm not a big mouth, dude. It's not about a big mouth. My mouth is no bigger than yours. In fact, yours is, looking at it, is probably bigger than mine.
I got bigger lips too.
Well, you got bigger lips too. I mean, it's those collagen injections.
I think you beat me with the injections.
Yeah.
You look good. You're how old now?
67.
67.
Yeah.
Looking buff too. You've been working out a lot.
No, twice in the last 2 days.
Really? What is he on? No, but
I'm on work. I'm
Hey.
on work. You guys are you're underestimating the value of work. Working all the time. Work is good for you, man. Particularly when you work and it actually creates a product. When you achieve your targets, you're going to stay younger. Like, have a target, work to the target, achieve the target, come home with the trophy. I did another one.
Nobody dies from working a lot.
Huh?
Nobody dies from working a lot.
No, yeah, because you're winning. You're going to look younger. If you've ever seen the pictures of Jeff Bezos when he was 28, and look at the picture of him now, bro. Shit.
He looks younger.
He looks younger. He looks better. I don't care what he's doing. He looks better. Okay? Yeah. And I'm, success, it's not the money. It's the success. It's the confidence. It's like, okay, I can make things happen. So
question about another topic, 10X. So I met you at your first event in Cancun. You had 30 people there, maybe 35. So you stopped 10X?
Half of them were mine. Half of them were my people.
Well, I was one of those.
Yeah.
In attendance. So you stopped 10X? It's your last one? It's done?
We did. We're not going to do another 10X growth conference.
So why?
Everything ends. I mean, everything ends like.
That's a very successful program you've had. Very.
Yeah, very. I mean, probably most successful. Financially, we made money on every one of those events. It was profitable when we started the event, and then we sell products and services while we're there. But look, everything ends. You got to decide when you're going to be like, I'm done with this product. I don't need to wait for it to exhaust itself and lose interest in it, and go and move on to the next thing. So I'm on to the next thing.
What's the next thing?
More things with Glenn. Me and Glenn are making a big announcement in the mortgage business. I don't know if you can talk about that, but
Why can't we?
I don't know why we can't.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I'm going to do something in the public markets this year. So we started this real estate Bitcoin fund. We did one of them, oversubscribed it. We'll have 10 by late May up and running, and then we're going to take that to the public markets so people can get liquidity 5 days a week. And then I'm working on this other project right now to get the people in California believing that they can actually flip the state back to common sense.
Well, I think your energy, if it can continue to focus in California, maybe you can make a difference. That'd be great, Grant. Who knows, right?
I know it can happen. I was in Sacramento and I told 1,100 people there, they're all delegates and assemblymen, and I said, you can flip the state of California red in this cycle. And they were like, now they're doing politics every day, right? I said, listen to me, you can flip the state in this cycle. And I know you guys don't believe it, and the reason you don't believe it is because you've had so many losses. So what happens is when a person has a lot of losses, is they start reducing their targets. The most common response is, I'm going to reduce my target. So you had a target for the first quarter or for the month, and then the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's not going well. So you start thinking about lowering the target. You never want to lower the target. You want to increase the target. And you want to reduce the amount of time you have to achieve the target. It puts urgency, and you want to be visible and noisy. You want to actually be loud with your target so the public actually holds you accountable. And what happened with those guys is they've had so many losses, they start shrinking their target. Okay, we're just going to get an assemblyman. We're just going to get a DA. The problem is you can't last long enough. You need to shrink stuff. So when Discovery Channel asked me to do Undercover Billionaire, I said, can I do it in 45 days rather than 90? And they're like, why would you want less time? And I'm like, because it'll be easier. You know, if you go to jail, do you want a long prison sentence or a short one? Short as possible. Because you can suffer, as long as it's for a short period of time and it's defined, you can suffer for short periods of time, but not forever.
That's a weird comparison, though.
Well, I've never been to jail, so I just used it because I thought some of your audience had been. Who's been to jail? Who's been to jail? Let me see it. See the guy on the front row, guy on the second row? Okay. Okay. Yeah, a couple of women.
Hey, Grant, so we have a lot of salespeople here. A lot of people in sales. How many people in sales? So some people believe that, you got to be smooth and not too aggressive. I know that your sales type and your salespeople are super aggressive, like to the point where people come in, to your event, or they go to your office and there's like somebody there and they're pitching hard, aggressive. We have a lot of salespeople now with Driven, so we do a lot of aggressive sales also. Sometimes, we get complaints that they're too aggressive and they should be a little bit less aggressive. What is your take on the right way to sell and help people?
You go. I got my answer.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the ideal situation is your marketing would actually make the sale for you, and it would be easy, and they'd call up and say, I want one of those, let's go. If your marketing should be softening the market up. They should be softening the client up so that the salesperson has to do less of the sale. Meaning, if I could shorten the selling process and not have to go through all the building value and the time it takes, right? If I could shrink that up to where somebody's like, I want your product. When can I get it? Rather than how much does it cost? Short of that, if your marketing's not doing that, okay, and if you're cold to that customer, it's going to get more difficult. I mean, the best thing to do is have a warm customer that already trusts you. They're only going to trust you because they've seen you over and over again. He runs an ad, and then Glenn handles the call. That's not trust, okay? Because he saw something, he did something, compelled somebody, no money down, qualify you in 24 hours, whatever it was. Boom, I'm interested in that. But now Glenn's got to build the trust, and he don't know Glenn. So now what are you going to do? Build rapport? You ain't building rapport in L.A. Fucking people don't even look at you in L.A. You give a woman a compliment in L.A., they'll be like, and they're all dressed all hot, and you're like, whoa, you look good today. Hey, leave me alone. Or they won't look at you. It's like crazy. People won't even. So how's he going to build rapport? I mean, let's keep it real. So what is he going to have to do? He's going to have to get aggressive. And aggressive's probably not going to work if there's no rapport, no trust. So you got to get trained as a salesperson. Every one of you here should know how to sell. You CEOs and executives, two things that I focus on every day is 95% of my time is spent on marketing. Probably 4% of my time is looking at, hey, can we convert this guy easily? And You just make that customer easy, man. Build trust, and you build trust through repetition. You don't build it because me and him have some bond, and I had a kid when I was 14 too. The chances that happen are so small. And all this mirroring, I don't know if y'all have been doing any of that, but the mirroring, I'm gonna act like him, he holds his hands like that, he sits like that. I mean, that's all bullshit. Okay, it's all bullshit, I'm telling you, man. Be yourself, get trained, understand your sales process, understand where you're at in the process, believe in your product, and ask for the close.
So you said marketing. A lot of people here don't want to spend the money on ads because they're scared. What if I spend money on ads
Yeah.
and I blow a lot of money and I don't convert and they don't work? So there's some fear here on spending money on marketing. But you mentioned 95% is marketing and it's important. So how do you get over that fear to spend money on ads?
Well, the executive should be looking at, why is the ad not converting? Like, if it's not converting, it's not his fault. He's only going to be so good. Like, he can only be so good with what he has. The guy calling in doesn't trust him. Why would I? Why would I trust him? I don't know him. You go in a dark alley, are you going to have trust? No. You walk through that same alley in the daytime, you'll be like, I'm fine. If it's a familiar neighborhood. So when the familiarity drops, so does the certainty. I go into mystery, I'm not going to trust anybody. So the marketing needs to build trust, man. It needs to build, has a call to action that says, hey, you know, like the way we advertise is, look, I used to do the cold stuff, okay? The cold stuff is very difficult. And about 12 years ago, I said, I'm going to make this audience so warm that they can ask for the order. And if that doesn't work, we're just going to create a big-ass audience. So two things you can do. Have the audience so big that you can waste leads, or make them so warm that they're going to buy from you.
So I think of sales a little differently. I don't look at putting as much advertising out there as possible. I think the best advertisement is a happy client. And he goes out and spreads the word for you. And so what I would do is I would spend a lot of time on people. Be authentic, you said that. Be transparent and really be able to be yourself. I remember when I was young, I had a lady named Maria Mayorga, and she brought her dad in. He was an old Mexican cowboy with the boots and the hat, and he'd come in every month, and he'd have like 15 little pieces of paper where he had lent money to farmers, 15,000, 18,000. And then every month he gave me $49. He gave me $62. And I would sit and amortize those little loans for him. Had nothing to do with my business, but I would do that on the weekend. Maria Mayorga had 7 sons. For the last 30-something years, that was 1988, I did loans for every single one of those kids, 7 sons. I did loans for her granddad. I've been to his funeral. I've been to Maria's father's funeral. They've been to my wedding, my birthdays. And then just 2 months ago, I went to the hospital, kissed Maria on the forehead. She died later that day. I spoke at her funeral. So to me, sales, right, is not about as much marketing as I can put out. It's about the relationships I can build, and then that starts to travel, right? Go to that guy. He's a good guy. Because it isn't then all about just trying to churn the deal. It's about finding people that believe in you, that then they become your marketers. And so a little different, but
You know, you didn't have, in 1988, you didn't have Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. These places are places where you guys could start like showing up, where I can trust a face.
I agree with that too. But be authentic
and the other
in
thing that
your
didn't exist then-
conversations.
Say again?
Be authentic in your advertising as well.
Yeah. But what I have learned is the repetition. Like even when people disagree with my viewpoint, okay, like I don't like your style. We still hear this, bro, you got great work ethic. Now, how do they know I have great work ethic? It's not because I'm working for them. It's because I show up in every one of their feeds every single day, no matter what. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, ads, TV, I'll show up anywhere, just like I did this morning. You see, I'm telling you, and I didn't know this when I was a kid.
Pornhub?
Huh? No. I show up to build trust, not to build agreement. Okay? You don't need to agree with me first. You need to trust me first for something. Okay, Grant Cardone will show up. That's one trust foundation. And again, if you don't know me, you're not going to do business with me. It is absolutely impossible. I know you'd agree with that. If those 7 kids would never have known you, they would not have done business with you. So whether you do, word of mouth, slower, or you simply go on cheap, by the way, it costs nothing for you and if you have a plumbing company to show up every day and talk about plumbing.
So you do both?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can do both?
Yeah, you can do them both. You should do them both.
I would agree with that.
And marketing should not cost you any money, by the way. The only marketing that'll ever cost you money is when you quit. It's the only marketing that'll ever cost you. When you quit marketing, that's what costs you. So you guys can, it cost me $2,200 to run this ad. It could cost you $22 million not to run it. We spend about $50 million a year in advertising. I don't regret any of it. I'm not trying to reduce the bill. I'd like to run it up 10 times.
That's good.
Be a gangster, dude. Be a gangster. Folks, be a fucking gangster. Okay? Goddamn, be great, man. Be great. Do great shit. Otherwise, nobody's ever going to know you.
Well, that's the thing, Grant, is I think what everybody out here has to understand is that if you want something, you have to be as bold as you can and say, this is what I want. It's when we have goals and we don't articulate them. We're too afraid to be able to say what we really want. And I think that comes down to the governorship. What do you think about that?
Be bold.
Be bold.
The Bible says, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid.
He almost said it.
I have said that verse 10,000 times to myself. Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. I don't know if that means be meek and you will inherit the earth. I don't think the meek are going to get anything. I think the meek is what's happening right now to the state of California. You guys just roll over and over and over again. Hey, we're going to raise taxes. Okay. We're going to raise them again. All right. goddamn, when are you guys going to be enough? Stop it. And then you guys make sense of it by saying, this is what we pay for. That's bullshit. You're driving people out of your state. And the people that are leaving are all the good people. So you got to say, stop it. No more money for you guys. You should have a 0 income tax in the state of California. Immediately. Not over time. Drop it to 0 right now. Starve those freaking criminals up in Sacramento. Okay? I could run this state with 0 income tax.
If you look at I don't know if
Build
you've ever
3
read,
million homes in the next 18 months.
Have you read the Laffer curve? Read about that?
The what?
Art Laffer. He's written about
of
the
course,
zero
yeah.
tax
He's the old guy.
states.
Yeah.
He's younger than you.
No, he's not.
But have you?
No, he's not. Fuck. He looks like he's a fucking
He does.
ancient.
But what he talks about is that these states with 0 taxes, how you create so much more revenue, and then other taxes that it feeds the government. So, I agree with you.
Yeah.
We had Mark Kohler here. I know you know him.
Yeah, I know Mark.
Yeah. He was here. He spoke yesterday about taxes, so he gave some good lessons on taxes.
Yeah.
Now Grant, quick thing here. What advice do you have for me?
Nice watch, bro.
Thank you.
Nice watch.
What advice do you have for me at 42, looking backwards? Would you still say Ferrari was a mistake?
Keep. Would I say what?
Would you still say the Ferrari was a mistake, that I got it?
I mean, I don't have one. I don't know what's a mistake for you. I have no idea.
You told me not to get Ferraris.
I mean, I wouldn't. But I'm always going to tell people not to do. I tell my kids, don't waste your money on. I don't have one. I've never had one. But they're not my thing. So I think you asked me. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't do that. But whatever. It doesn't mean I'm right.
I used it for marketing, though.
Okay.
So, but Grant,
Whatever. You could have bought $400,000 worth of fucking
you've
hats.
got a G600.
Whatever, bro.
So, it's not about the Ferrari. It's about don't invest in
Well, yeah, but
in a
his
depleted.
Ferrari cannot get him to Dubai.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, what I think
He's got to
you're
rent
saying-
another Ferrari when he gets to
No, but-
Dubai.
Hey, when you're making great money, go buy your plane, right? But what you're saying is when you're on the way up, don't invest in
Yeah, dude.
depreciating assets.
Don't buy anything.
Right.
Don't buy anything.
And
You guys should be
reinvest in
reinvesting in yourself,
Amen.
in your business, and something else that cash flows. You should not be buying Ferraris. If you could buy, he should have bought a Ferrari dealership, not a Ferrari.
Right.
Okay? So that's all I'm saying to people. Rather than buying a house is a place to live. It is not a good investment.
Now you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
100%
I got to
wrong.
go too. I got to go. You guys should be buying. I was with some firemen last night. Last night we were at a celebrity gala event to appreciate the firemen that saved the state, really. And they asked me if they should be buying or selling real estate right now. I said, what you guys should do, there was 12 firemen at a table. I said, you guys should put all your money together and you should buy the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Buy the whole neighborhood and rent it to other people. Because then you're really in power. Rather than a single family home that you got to pay for and you got to pay the property taxes and the HO. I know you hate this.
No.
Shit.
Yeah.
Donald Bren doesn't disagree.
You're in multi-lending, multi-family, so you obviously think like that.
Yeah.
But most people aren't at that scale
They
yet.
can do that.
Well,
You
they
said
gotta
be bold.
start-
You said be bold.
Be bold, but start with a single family.
And,
be able to
I just
create
completely
your own
disagree
wealth.
with that.
So
You're not
who do you?
always-
Who's
Hey,
right?
He
Who's right?
didn't even
Glenn
make.
or Grant?
He didn't even make.
Who's right? Glenn or
He
Grant?
Hell
didn't.
no.
He didn't even make his target on Undercover Billionaire. Okay, didn't even make the fucking target. And I did $5.5 billion. I did 5.5 times my target.
Hey Grant, I'll make a deal with you. I'm gonna play you by the way, the real story. I'm gonna show you what actually I did make, because I changed it.
Oh, really?
100%. I beat your ass.
You did?
Oh, sure.
I swear, and I've got it in video.
Somebody get a picture of this.
I got it on video, and I will show you. Okay?
What'd you do? What'd you end up doing?
More than you.
Oh, excuse me. Imagine how much we could do together.
Exactly.
Huh?
There you go.
Yeah.
Do $1 billion together. Forget
Let's
this
do it.
$1 million stuff.
So, last thing before you leave. So what's the advice looking backwards at 42? My age?
No, I would, I mean, I don't really know what you're up to and what you're doing right now, but I would just stay on the path that you're on, dude. Keep freaking churning it out, work your ass off. I mean, the same shit, invest your money in other things that aren't going to go away. The future's changing. The future's not going to be what it is today. And I mean, you can see what I'm doing. I believe in the shit I'm doing. I don't know how to believe in stuff that other people do. I believe in what I'm doing. I put all my money in those things. I do not invest in a whole bunch of things. I have a handful of things. I make them work. I show up for them, and I double down on that.
Albert, you have been doing what you've been doing, and you have not. What a lot of people do is when it gets hard, they go, "Oh, that over there looks easier.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go over there."
Yeah.
And you have never done that. You stay when it got tough, you almost quit. We all almost quit. Every one of us, but you don't.
Yeah.
And when you stay the course, you will get better and bigger and stronger. And so for a lot of us out there, when it gets difficult and we're sitting in those times where we think and we start listening to the devil on this side, give up.
Yeah.
Something over there is easier. Don't listen to it.
I got to go, guys, okay? I appreciate you having me. Thank you, Albert.
Give it up for Grant.
Thanks a lot, man. Always good to